Welcome to the Monday edition of Anglican Unscripted. This is episode 115, and you're going to have to excuse us. It's construction season at Anglican TV Studios. You're going to hear trucks in the background. That's the way it is. I'm Kevin Carlson.
And I'm George Conger. Today's August 18th, 2014.
George, it's Monday, and we need to update people about what's going to be happening in our lives the next couple days, because the show is going to take a break, so to speak. It'll still be broadcast, but there'll be a different talking head besides George, because George is taking his two daughters to college today, right after we're done recording this little snippet. Pretty exciting time. This is just, you hear the siren, you hear the dump truck. That's what it's like here today at Anglican Unscripted Studios. There's not much we can do about that. I can't afford a soundproof booth, and George is at the library. That's the way it works.
The roofers still are at work. It's been 2 weeks. There could be a few more days putting up a tin roof.
And you also discovered your air conditioner died.
The air conditioning contractor's coming on Thursday, replace the whole system. And the gutter guy comes on Friday. And
it's not like it's we August is always slow news month, and but it hasn't been. We want to talk about the death of Robin Williams. We want to talk about what's going on with ISIS over in Iraq. We want to talk about the Church of England and its disturbing function towards Islam. But we don't really have time for that, because you're going to drive one daughter to University of Florida, and where's the other daughter going?
Emory University. Okay. Claudia is starting tomorrow, freshman year at University of Florida. She's going to study English, football, and sorority.
And boys.
And boys. And Laura is starting on Wednesday at Emory University, where she's going to be studying Chinese and English literature. The very, very different girls. One is very serious, the other is very sociable. They're wonderful daughters. I'm so proud of them.
Yeah, it's a great thing, but I do want your wife Susan to take pictures of you as you blubber on the way home. I remember when I dropped off my dear Victoria, my oldest daughter and first daughter to college 3 years ago now. Dropping her off with easy, moving all her stuff to the 6th floor dorm with no elevator, no problem whatsoever. But the drive home killed me. I was just gutted. I had to pull over. I was crying so hard. Don't tell her this, but
Kevin, I've been crying already. I mean, I wrote a check yesterday for $1,800, and last week I wrote a check for $3,800. I've been crying all the way to the bank.
It's interesting, because this is where our children get to start their own lives. It's where they're out of the nest, and it's something brand new for them. And if you're taking your kids to college this week, keep them in your prayers, because you want them to always keep Christ first, but they're having all these new experiences and all these emotions and hormones and the newness of college life, and people teaching them something they didn't learn at home, and people saying, well, especially with college, they're going to be activists run wild in college, feminists run wild on college, liberalism runs wild even on conservative universities. The question everything, that's just part of the college culture. Your child can survive that, but you got to be praying for your child, George.
We've been praying for them for 18, 19 years, but Kevin, one of the things I've noticed is that when we went through the college search, we really did find that the universities that I remember, that I attended, their character has so completely changed in the last 15, 20 years. I'm sure my parents said the same thing. But the universities, they're really very, very few what I would call safe places anymore. We really are spreading our children, leading them into temptation by sending them to these very expensive places to have fun for 4 years.
Yeah. Well, and that's the difference of universities too. when I went to University of Wisconsin a couple years ago, it was cram as many people into a dorm as possible, give them an inexpensive education, and send them on their way. My freshman year was $982 with dorm, with books, to go to university. And they didn't care too much about how the student felt about where they lived. It's a different culture now where most universities are like little mini Google campuses. They have rock climbing walls. They have these little suites for the kids to live in, have a little dinette kitchen area. And it's not the school that you remember, parents, when you were going to school.
No, it's completely different. The University of Florida, for instance, when I was in college, I had my freshman roommate. There were three of us. We had a triple. We were like crammed into a room the size of this cubicle, the library, with bunk beds, and a building built in the 30s that I think was a WPA project for the government. And this is a nice private institution. Claudia's freshman dormitory had this vision of this huge, sort of ramshackle building. It's basically a very nice Holiday Inn. She has a single room which opens with 4 other single rooms onto a little suite with a bathroom and kitchenette for freshmen at the University of Florida. Mm-hmm. It's just incredible the amount of money that has been invested in the universities. I don't think that much of it's been put into academics.
No,
but
it hasn't. But
she can eat pizza at 3 a.m. She can go to fitness centers, theaters. I mean, man, I wish I was gone.
I know. It's a different time and place. And, one of the biggest businesses at UConn right now is called Midnight Cookies. It's a cookie service that will deliver cookies to your children between like 11 p.m. and 4 p.m. And they're doing bonkers business because kids are cramming for exams or up a sleepless night. And I've tasted the cookies. They're not that good. You get better store-bought cookies. But, it's amazing what's available to the college student that was not available to us. My roommates and I were good friends with the Domino's Pizza delivery guy. We would get Domino's Pizza very frequently to the dorm or I lived on an apartment after that on campus. It's a different time. We pray that our children have exciting times and that they're led by the desires of the Lord. So our schedule is going to be broken up. George and I are not recording any stories today. He's off to take his kids to school. I have a special guest right after this. Via the magic of Skype, I have on the other line Archbishop Foley, and you are the new Archbishop of the Anglican Church in North America. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Kevin. Good to be here. I do have a question for you. When you saw me immediately after I was elected, you said, I already look grayer, and I didn't even official yet. Is that still the case?
Well, I did not know I would be quoted in my first segment, but of course, gray is good. Look, I'm white. That's the next shade beyond gray. You haven't turned white yet. White is the sign of fear. Gray is the sign of wisdom. So you're doing fine.
All right, thank you.
So out of my fear. Now, it's your first month so in the chief executive position of the Anglican Church of North America. It's time to make appointments and put people into roles. Before we had the Anglican Church of North America headquarters in Pittsburgh. Is there going to be any change? Or up in Amesburg? Is there going to be any change with that?
Let me start with some of the appointments.
Sure.
First, one of the things we had to work on here in the diocese, the Anglican Diocese of the South, is what are we going to do since I had a pretty busy schedule visiting parishes and pastoring clergy. So as it turns out, Bishop Frank Lyons is available, and we have hired him to be our assisting bishop here in the diocese. He will start here in January full-time after he finishes his work out with the Western Anglicans. And I've asked him to come help me with two specific things. One is with parish visitations and pastoring clergy. And I'll still be doing some parish visitations, but I won't be able to do them all. And so we want to make sure the diocese is taken care of during this time while I'm the Archbishop. And so that's as far as on the local level. As far as the province, I think the first thing to say is that the canons of the church give the Archbishop the authority to appoint a dean of the province.
Mm-hmm.
And I've asked Ray Sutton to take on that role. But in alignment with that, to help with the ministry of the Archbishop, I've asked some of the other bishops to take on specific roles. So I'm actually appointing 4 deans of the college. And this is something that I think is going to be really key to helping us move forward. First, the Dean of College Affairs, and this person is going to help me tend to the life of the college, how we do our business together, how we worship together, how we interact with each other, our relationships. And I've asked Bishop Terrell Glenn to take on that role. And then I'm going to have a Dean of Provincial Affairs to help me tend to the what I call the bureaucracy, the governance, all the committees, all those formal things that are key to us being able to operate together, the infrastructure. And I've asked Bishop John Guernsey to help me in that role. Then I'm going to have a Dean of International Affairs to help me with relationships throughout the worldwide Anglican Communion. And I've asked Bishop Bill Atwood to take on that role, and he's accepted. And then I've also created a Dean of Ecumenical Affairs.
Oh, wow.
Someone to help with all the ecumenical relationships. And I've asked Bishop Ray Sutton to take on that role, as he's done such a wonderful job in that. I've asked each of these deans to help me find an associate dean, a younger bishop, that they will mentor and share the load with, so that we are creating leadership as we move forward as a province and as a college. I've also asked Bishop Don Harvey to take on a role of senior chaplain to the bishops, and Bishop Dave Benna and Bishop Keith Ackerman are going to help him with that, so that when things happen in bishops' lives or in their families, that we're able to pastor each other. And so that's as far as those appointments, and that's been received well by the college, and we're very excited about being able to move forward together. So they're going to be like a team helping me do the job of the Archbishop, and I'm very encouraged regarding that.
Well, it sounds like great news. It shows that the province is pretty healthy, that you can rely on so many people for such diverse roles. Now, I suppose the people who know this already know this, but let's talk about any staff changes you're making.
Well, one of the things that I've done as I've evaluated is I have combined the Archbishop's canon with the COO roles, Chief Operating Officer role. And Jack Lumenond has agreed to do that. The Lieutenant Colonel, as he is going to take charge of both of those roles. And I'm very excited about that. I've asked Andrew Gross to be our canon for communications and media relations, and he's agreed to do that. Alan Hawkins is going to be our canon for development. I've asked Canon Dan Alger to be our canon for church planting. And then I've asked Canon Phil Ashe if he would be our canon for strategic ministry. And they're going to help me form a team to do some of the different things that I believe are just crucial for us to keep moving forward as a movement of planting churches and reaching North America for Jesus Christ. People keep asking about the office. What are we going to do about the office? And one of the things I've been wrestling with is the two paradigms. One is you have an archbishop's office and a provincial office somewhere else that kind of is always in one place, and the archbishop's office moves, versus having it all together. And what I've decided to do at this point, and that is all this is subject to evaluation down the road, years down the road, is the ministry pieces are going to come with me in the Archbishop's office, and then the infrastructure piece of the province, those that work in those areas, will remain in Ambridge. Ambridge is also the home to Anglican Relief and Development, who rent part of the office or the building up there. So we're going to keep all of them together in place, and then the ministry folks will come here with me so that we're able to form a good ministry team.
All right. Well, I think that answers a lot of people's question as to what was going to be the future for the office.